Hello everyone. Today we will do the analysis for tomorrow, that is 10th of July. Yesterday I did not post, but nothing much happened today in the market. The market remained sideways and then small bounce at the end. Yesterday in the idea I posted that the market can gap down and then go sideways. I was expecting something like this, that it will gap down and then remain sideways here and then go up, but it opened a gap up, remained here and then started to move up. And I think this current rally will continue up to 23,475, because if we see this rally, then this is the correction, this is the price wise correction, and this becomes the time wise correction here. If you saw the correction video, then you will know that we discussed that whenever there is a correction, then first the market corrects itself in the price ways and then in the time ways. If something like this happens, let's say that the market went up like this and then it remained sideways and almost at the same price. Now the time wise correction here is done and then price wise correction is left. Then what happens is there will be a sudden drop in the price and then there will be a V-shaped recovery, because now the market had completed time wise correction here and then the price wise correction was completed here, and now no more correction is left, so we get a fast recovery here. Now the opposite is this, that we get a first the price recovery and then the time wise correction and then we start to go up. So here I think that this was the initial move and here's the correction, and if we take the same percentage from here till here and then from the correction to the upper side, then we come up to the 23,475 level, which is also near 23,500, overall important level, psychological level. So I think tomorrow's if we get a rally tomorrow to the upside, then we can easily reach to the upper levels. And if in some case that we start to go beyond this sideways market today, then I think there is a possibility then we can head down towards the 22,375 level, but only if we go below the today's lows. For Nifty, we will see Nifty now. Nifty has been in a sideways market for 3 days. We have a support and a resistance completely in the rectangle here, and this high of the 10,840 is being maintained from the last 3 days. So if we start to trade above here, then I think there can be a good momentum up to 10,970 levels, and then further if there is a very strong momentum, then maybe till 11,075 levels. Because if we go back, then we see that when the market was here, that these levels provided support. As we see that this was a support and here we have support. So if we start to move up, these levels will provide resistance to the market. That's why they are set as targets. And in some case that if we go bearish tomorrow, then I suggest that this level, because if we see this on the 5-minute chart, then this was the previous support, and if we start to go below this, then I think we can get a 100 point downward momentum till the previous resistance, which will now act as a support, and then we can see some recovery in case if it goes down. But in my opinion, we will remain bullish. In case there is a gap up opening, we have to be careful then. Then two scenarios is possible. Let's say if there is a gap up opening, first scenario is that it comes down, takes the support from this resistance which is being maintained from the last few days, and then it starts to go up. And other scenario can be that it gap up opens and directly goes towards the target. So you have to watch if there is a gap up opening. If there is a gap down opening, that depends that if the gap down opening is below all this accumulation, then the market can become bearish or sideways. For Bank Nifty, let us clear all this. So if there is a gap up opening, then we might directly go towards the target or take support at the lower levels and then go up. In case of a gap down opening below the accumulation, then there is a possibility that we might reach the levels of the previous support, which is around 22,375 levels. So I hope this is clear. that tomorrow we might get some momentum in Bank Nifty. If my personal opinion is that we will get a bullish momentum, even though we see that Dow Jones is coming down, but I think it is near the support level, which is right here. This is a support level, and we see some reaction right now. There is, I mean, it's 9:30. Still, there is a lot of time left, so there is a possibility that we will come up to this level, and it can become a positive or somewhat a bullish market at the lower levels. So we have to see. But Nifty, I think it has been in the sideways for 3 days, and most likely we should get a bullish momentum. And same with Bank Nifty, I think the upper targets can be achieved. We have to be careful while shorting. Even if shorting at the below the selling zone, we have to be careful and always use the stop loss. Also, one thing I want to clear that give some idea about is that when we saw this downfall, which was yesterday, then a lot of people would have questions like, why does this fall happens? What are the reasons behind it? They will look at the international market, they'll look at 10 different things, but this is all normal, because if we see, then there is a single one-sided rally here, and this was almost 1,000 point, 950 point rally. So after 1,000 point one-sided move, of course there will be some correction, and the correction usually comes fast. So we got this downside move, and there is no some special reason behind it. This is a completely normal scenario. Same here, that we get some one-sided move, then we do some correction. Here the price-wise correction and the time-wise correction happened simultaneously, and we came down in the 45-degree angle somehow. But in this, the correction happened fast, and then we spent time in the sideways market. So this is how correction happens. Same here, that we went up, then we had some correction, we go up, correction, and I think that this move can continue up. For stocks, we have Bharat Forge. So looking on the 4-hour chart, I think we have come to this resistance too many times, 380, and it is becoming weak. As we know that one level becomes weak after too many times it is being touched. So tomorrow, if we get so I have put buy at current price, because I think that the momentum will continue. So we can buy here and keep the stop loss and keep the targets of 402 and 435, because these are previous areas of support, so they will now act as a resistance. Also, if we see that on the chart, I have highlighted these two candles, because if we see here, then on the 1 hourly, then if we look at this candle, this has such a huge volume, while the spread of the candle is so low, and we have a lower wick. And same here, huge volume, lower wicks. So I think this was the buying by the big players. And also we see here that while the bullish momentum, we see huge volumes here and here, but while the correction, this is the correction, small correction, there is almost no volume here. And now during the correction, the volume has gone down, as we see that there is less volume. So if we get a good momentum, I think the volume can come and we can reach to good levels. And this is Radico, and this was the accumulation here on the 1 hour chart, and we saw the reaction today. This is today or yesterday. This is yesterday. We saw some reaction to this level yesterday, and now again, if we start to go above this, then this level, the 382.50 level, will act as a support. And if we cross this, we can get a good momentum. And even if it is coming down, then I think it will take the retest support at the level 382, if we look it on the 4 hour chart. And then we can continue the momentum towards 410, which was the earlier support, now acting as a resistance. Tata Motors, this is the previous accumulation on the 4 hour chart, and almost no volume in this area. So if we start to move above 110.75, which has acted resistance twice, maybe 3 times here, here, and here, and now we are we made a trend line and we have broken above the trend line. So I think that if the market starts to go up tomorrow, then we can reach the target of 115, do some small correction, and then in a few days we can reach to the up to the target of 125. And also this looks this is becoming like a rounding bottom, and this level has provided support now, and we see some volume as coming as well. So there is a possibility of momentum in upcoming days. Exide Industries, on the 4-hour chart, we see that there is some volume here, and we got some resistance earlier here. Then we got a breakout, but the market came down due to some selling pressure, and now I think there have been some accumulation at the lower levels. And if we start to go above the previous accumulation zone, which is here, which has, I mean, this accumulation zone, which let me show clearly. So we see accumulation here, and after that we got a downward momentum, and then this level provided resistance, and we got resistance once again. But now this level has become weak, and if we start to move up, we can see up to the higher levels, which is this support, and stop loss can be maintained at these levels. Cipla, now 643 has been acting as a resistance since last few days. We got resistance here, resistance here, resistance here, resistance again. So I think this resistance is now weak, and if we start to move up, we can see the levels of 658 and then further 673. So I hope everything is clear, and the general idea of Nifty and Bank Nifty is also clear. If we see Nifty on the daily chart, then we see that we have been in a continuous uptrend. If the downtrend had to happen, it would have happened right here, and we would have come down, but then it made a higher high, then again higher high, and now we are again. So this is completely an uptrend, and as per my analysis, I think that this is an accumulation area, and we can reach up to these levels, which is around 11,100, around that area. So there is a possibility that we can reach here, and then there might be some correction here for some days. But we will talk about that what can happen if the market reaches this level. We will talk about that later. But first, the market has to reach here, and I think it is completely possible, and most likely I think it will happen. I mean, we'll reach up to the 11,100 around that levels. If we look this on the 1-hour chart, we'll try to identify resistance points, support points. So here we see that this is a support and this is a support. I don't think we will reach 11,250. I think the good possibility is that we will reach 11,125 maybe tomorrow or Monday. But after here, then there might be some correction. We will talk about that later. And Bank Nifty 23,500 target is easily possible, that we had some accumulation here. So this can be the targets for the upper levels, can be the target for Bank Nifty. So this is it for the video. I hope everything is clear, and see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.